The city of Atlantis. An advanced civilization lost to time? According to Plato, Atlantis was not a primitive society. It was advanced, highly organized, and extraordinarily powerful. At the heart of Atlantis stood its capital city, a city unlike any other described in the ancient world. Plato tells us the city was built in a series of concentric circles, rings of land, separated by rings of water. These circular canals were connected by bridges and controlled by gates. The design was not accidental. It showed planning, engineering, and a deep understanding of architecture and defense. Ships could sail from the open sea directly into the heart of the city. This made Atlantis a naval superpower. At the center of the city stood a sacred hill. On top of it, a grand temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. The temple was enormous, covered in silver, decorated with gold, and said to shine in the sunlight. Nearby stood the royal palace, surrounded by walls reinforced with metals. One metal in particular was considered extremely valuable. Plato calls it orichalcum, a mysterious substance, rare, powerful, almost mythical. Some believe it was a lost alloy, others think it was simply symbolic, but Plato treats it as real. Beyond the capital, Atlantis extended across fertile plains irrigated by complex canal systems. The land produced abundant crops, food was plentiful, resources were vast. The Atlanteans lacked nothing. Their society was strictly organized. Atlantis was ruled by 10 kings. Each governed a region, but all answered to a central authority. Laws were written, strict, and enforced equally. Justice, according to Plato, was once the foundation of Atlantean society. Their military was immense, a powerful army, a massive navy, thousands of ships, highly trained soldiers. Atlantis did not merely defend itself, it expanded. Plato describes Atlantis as a dominant empire. It controlled territories across the sea. It challenged even ancient Athens. But at first, this power was balanced by wisdom. The Atlanteans were said to be part divine, descendants of Poseidon himself. As long as they honored their laws and values, their civilization thrived. But something changed. As generations passed, the divine nature of the Atlanteans faded. Greed replaced restraint. Pride replaced wisdom. Wealth became obsession. Power became addiction. The rulers of Atlantis no longer governed for balance. They governed for domination. According to Plato, this moral decay was the true beginning of the end. Not war, not invasion, but corruption. Atlantis had everything: technology, resources, military strength, but it lost what mattered most: self-control. And in Plato's philosophy, that loss always leads to destruction. This is what makes the story of Atlantis so powerful. It is not just a description of a city, it is a portrait of a civilization at its peak, and at the same time, on the edge of collapse. Because when a society believes it is untouchable, that is when it becomes most vulnerable. In the next part, we will witness the moment everything ends. The catastrophe, the earthquakes, the floods, and the night Atlantis disappeared forever. The cataclysm. The night Atlantis disappeared. According to Plato, the destruction of Atlantis was sudden. There was no long war, no gradual decline. It happened in a single day and a single night. After generations of corruption, the gods reached a decision. Atlantis had crossed a line. Its people had become arrogant, obsessed with power, blind to balance. And so, nature itself was unleashed. Plato describes a sequence of disasters. The ground began to shake violently. Earthquakes ripped through the land. Buildings collapsed. Temples cracked. The great rings of the city began to fail. but the shaking was only the beginning. Then came the water. The sea rose with unstoppable force. Massive floods swept across the plains. Canals overflowed. Harbors were destroyed. Ships were torn apart. The advanced engineering that once protected Atlantis now trapped it. Water rushed through the circular canals, turning them into weapons against the city itself. Plato tells us that the island began to sink, slowly at first, then faster. Entire districts were swallowed by the sea. People had no time to escape, no warning, no refuge. In a single night, the capital vanished. And by morning, Atlantis was gone. Not damaged, not ruined, gone. Where a powerful empire once stood, there was only ocean. Plato adds one haunting detail. After the destruction, the sea became impassable, filled with mud, shallow, dangerous to navigate, as if the city itself had left a scar on the ocean floor. This detail is important because it suggests Atlantis did not simply collapse. It physically altered the environment. Now, modern science asks an obvious question. Could such a catastrophe really happen? The answer is unsettling. Yes. Earthquakes can trigger tsunamis. Volcanic eruptions can destroy entire islands. History provides examples. The eruption of Thera in the ancient Mediterranean was one of the most powerful volcanic explosions ever recorded. It caused massive earthquakes, gigantic waves, and widespread destruction. Some researchers believe Atlantis may have been inspired by a real disaster like this. A natural catastrophe remembered, retold, and magnified over time. But Plato insists on something deeper. The destruction of Atlantis was not random. It was punishment, a consequence. In his philosophy, nature responds to moral imbalance. When societies abandon justice, they invite collapse. Atlantis did not fall because it was weak. It fell because it believed it was invincible. And this idea is what gives a story its lasting power, because civilizations throughout history have fallen the same way. Not overnight, but inevitably. Plato used Atlantis as a warning, a message to his own society, and perhaps to ours. The city sank, the empire ended. But the lesson remained. Power without wisdom destroys itself. And that brings us to the greatest mystery of all. If Atlantis truly existed, if it truly sank beneath the sea, then where is it now? In the next part, we will follow the trail, across oceans, across continents, and into the theories that attempt to locate the lost city of Atlantis.